Hey, happy Tuesday. As you can tell by the little icon on my shirt, we're talking all things Masters today with the golf master himself, Andy Lang, who happens to also be our $2 Tuesday handicapper over at Wagertalk. Andy, before we get into it, let everybody know what you got going on over at wagertalk.com.
Oh my gosh, could we have a busier week? We've got the Masters right in my wheelhouse. We've got UFC 300 right in my wheelhouse. We've got $2 Tuesday. We've got a $2 best bet that is up in the NBA. We're having a fantastic 2024 in the NBA and NHL, really in all sports. We're number one in NHL, number one in golf. We're very low volume in NBA. Only had 22 plays since February 25th, but we've hit 14 of them. So it's kind of one of those like complete quality over quantity. So that goes off here later tonight. So let's start with the $2 Tuesday. Let's cash tonight, and then let's get everyone ready for Thursday when the Masters start in UFC 300. But for today, for this show, all about the Masters, right?
Do you want to give our audience, we'll call it your free play, your little snafu that I saw on Slack this morning?
Yes. Okay. So originally, my $2 play was going to be in the NHL. It is going to be Ryan Strome of the Anaheim Ducks to not have a point. We've been playing him to not have a point. His team's terrible. They barely score any goals most of the time. And so then we were like, let's not do a prop for the $2 Tuesday. So we pulled that play, which means it's a guaranteed win, Kelly. This is just like the best free play I've ever given out ever. Like it was going to be the $2 Tuesday play. We decided not to go with the prop, and I was like, oh man, that's about as close to a guarantee as it gets. So it's Ryan Strome of the Ducks to not have a point tonight is the free play of the day, of the week, of the month, and maybe of the year.
That is absolutely hilarious. You guys, good thing I didn't check Slack till later. Otherwise, I said, you can't do that. You know what happens when you change it. It is bad luck. We got a lot to get into. You guys know how the show works. You ask a question, we answer it. Today is 110% Masters. If you guys want UFC, Andy's UFC 300 video is up on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. So Andy, let's go into how you are approaching the Masters. Then we're going to talk some fun stuff. And then, oh, by the way, we're going to talk my Splash Sports contest, and we are going to help me set a lineup.
Yeah, I mean, and what we're doing is this is for office pools. I'm sure a lot of you out there have these, contests that we do every majors and every master. So it's the tiers, and we'll pick a golfer out of each tier. It's a great way to look at some underdogs and some undervalued guys. So Kelly and I are going to build a lineup. Most important things we need to know about Masters, Kelly, it's always the weather. You have to check the weather. Right now, thunderstorms are forecast for Thursday morning. There is going to be wind, high wind on Thursday and Friday. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. And it does not look like any tee time is going to escape the wind. It looks like no matter what time you play on Thursday and Friday, it's going to be windy. The big question is what's going to happen Thursday morning. Originally, a couple days ago, it was supposed to rain all day Thursday. That has moved now to only on Thursday morning. Fingers crossed that it keeps moving in our favor and that the rain comes in overnight. And by the early morning, we're good to go and everyone plays in the same weather. But check the weather. Make sure you're not getting a guy that has to go out and play in the horrible weather on a Thursday morning when everyone else gets to play later in the day. So that's number one. Number two, you got to understand some of the trends for how the Masters works. And one of the trends that I follow, there's two of them. First-time players tend to struggle. There's just a long line of really, really elite golfers, but they struggle in their first time at this event. It is a course that is unlike any other. You have to understand the nuances, and there's just no substitute for experience. This brings Wyndham Clark into play, Kelly. He's number 4 in the world, but he's never played here. He's won a major, but he's never played here. I can't be betting on Wyndham Clark. He's finished second to Scotty Scheffler twice this year. He can play with the best of them. I just don't think there's a way we can confidently bet on him in his first time here. The other thing that's happening with the Masters is it's so hard to repeat as champion, and it's hard just to play good after you repeat. And so the defending champion is always overvalued. That is Jon Rahm this year. He went to the Live Tour, and now he's coming back to try and defend the title. And it's just really hard. So, Kelly, just for some examples here. Scotty Scheffler, he won it in 2022. The next year, tied for 10th. In 2021, Hideki Matsuyama won. Next year, he finished 14th. Dustin Johnson in 2020, he won it. The next year, he missed the cut. The list goes on and on and on. So expecting John Rahm to repeat, he's the second highest favorite to win this tournament. It's an uphill battle. History says that it just doesn't work. There's so much pressure to repeat. The media the media demands are so much. You have to play in the Champions Dinner. There's so much pressure on that. So it's just a lot. So there's a couple guys that will not be betting on is Wyndham Clark and John Rahm for those reasons.
Let's talk about another guy. Actually, let's talk about two guys. One, all the Rory memes are just swirling the internet right now. You almost have to feel bad for the guy. So let's touch on Rory. And then, of course, we need to touch on Tiger. I actually just made we'll call it a friend bet for $100 with a guy on Twitter who's followed me for a long time. And I said, normally I don't bet people. He goes, I'm going to Venmo it to you right now. I said, okay. Currently minus 145 on some shops. He gave me even money for Tiger not to make the cut. Thought it was a good bet.
Yeah, I don't. So an article came out in USA Today. There's a guy. His name is Nota Begay. Golf fans will know this is one of Tiger's best friends. This is a guy that knows anything and everything about Tiger. Tiger confides in him and everything. Nota Begay just said Tiger has 0% mobility in his ankle, 0%, and he's going to try and walk around one of the steepest, most hilliest courses on the planet, and he's going to try and do this in rain and wind. He tees off on Thursday afternoon, which means he's going to tee off Thursday afternoon, and then he's got to do a quick comeback on Friday morning. Kelly, Tiger withdrew in the last tournament we saw him in. I think he struggles to see the week. It wouldn't surprise me if his ankle, knees, backs, whatever, get all banged up, which it will. I wouldn't be surprised to see a withdrawal. I don't see him making the cut. I was going to bring up, I just saw on DraftKings, you can play Gary Woodland in a head-to-head against Tiger Woods. Gary Woodland finished 14th last year here at the Masters. Now, Gary Woodland is coming off of brain surgery of all things, but he's at least healthy enough to walk the course. He's made the cut in 2 out of the last 3 tournaments. I will be betting against Tiger Woods. I'm very proud of you for betting against Tiger Woods this week. It's the only way you can do it.
Yeah, unfortunately, you got to find value where there's value to be found. Andy Lang hit on Rory really quick. Does he ever have any respect in Augusta? I mean, I feel like it is just downright disrespectful at this point.
Well, he's missed the cut in 2 out of the last 3 years. I mean, like, he brings this on himself. 2 years ago, he finished second, and it was the most hollow second-place finish you have ever seen in your life. He was out of contention, goes ballistic on the back 9, and then he holds out a bunker shot on the last hole to end up finishing second. But it was just one of those, like, it was second place on paper, but if you watched it, he was never in contention to win. He finally finished in the top 10 on a PGA Tour event last week. That was the first time that he's done that. His putting has been atrocious this year. Ill-timed mistakes. His wedges and irons have been inconsistent at best. He's always overpriced. Always overpriced. And on DraftKings, you can play Scotty Scheffler minus 155 over Rory McIlroy. And yes, count me in on that one for sure. This was a bet, Kelly, that at the beginning of the year, you could get like minus 130 on Scotty Scheffler. Number 1 player in the world against Rory McIlroy. The last time they played, it was minus 200. And so now it's minus 155. There's value on it. I don't care about Rory's 3rd place last week. It was a weak field. Yeah, give me Scotty Scheffler over him. And he's just overpriced. That's the thing. Such a big name, so popular that the books always put him as like a top 3 or top 4 golfer. So even if he plays good, he's probably not going to return value. So I can't be betting on him.
All right, that is fair enough. We have a question from Instagram, and this is actually one that some of my friends have asked in my group chats. Does Will Zalatoris have a chance?
So Will Zalatoris is going to be, I think they priced him correctly. Does he have a chance? Yeah. Is it an uphill battle? Big time. So Will Zalatoris had very serious back surgery last year, and it ended his season. He came back and struggled in his first couple tournaments, but then finishes 2nd and 4th. And you're thinking, okay, here we go. Will Zalatoris, he's back. And then he finishes miscut and 74th. Red flags galore. he is one of the few people that played great in his debut. He finished runner-up in his very first time playing here, and the next year he finished sixth. He did not play here last year because of the back surgery. Listen, if you're wanting I guess kind of a long shot that I think a lot of people are going to be a little bit hesitant to bet on, like me, I'm not going to bet on him, but at the same token, I'm not going to bet against him. It is a absolute roll of the dice. He's priced probably accurate. Am I going to bet on him? No. Would it surprise me if he came out and he played great here? No. This guy thrives on tough courses, but miscut in 74th in your last two. I'm going to say he struggles. I don't think his back is 100%, and this course, just walking it, is difficult. So I'm out on Will Zalatoris. I get the love for him. I just don't think it happens for him this year.
All right. Should we set this lineup? What do you think?
Let's set a lineup. Let's do this.
Okay, let's set a lineup. So splashsports.com/Kelly in Vegas. You get 6 golfers from 6 different tiers, and your lowest score is going to, or excuse me, your highest score is going to be eliminated. So you're going to get your best 5 golfers. Lowest score wins. If you guys have a guy that misses the cut or withdrawals, that's right. He is going to give you a snowman. That is 8 points. That sounds terrible. Andy, help me out with this one. I've been staring at these since they came out. They came out, maybe 48 hours ago. And I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to submit because unlike you, I don't submit and then take it out because I don't want to put any bad juju in there. So I haven't even clicked a tier yet. You and I are doing underneath my name, entry number 3 for any of those that want to follow along. Again, splashsports.com/Kelly in Vegas. It's $50 to enter, $50,000 in prize money. Top 25 are getting paid. A couple guys just actually split my survivor pool, Andy, $75,000 for 5 ways. So pretty jealous there. Yeah. Pretty jealous. Okay. Those guys got that one done. 4 guys split the $64,000 bittersweet 16. So let's get into it. Tier 1, we know all of these names. These guys are going to be easy, right?
No. All right. So here's one of the things you got to know before going into a pool. And I cannot stress this enough. Everyone misses this. You have to know how many people are going to enter this pool. If you're in a pool with 10 people, it changes the way you're going to pick your players. If you're with 1,000 other people, you can't go with all the other players that everyone else is going to go with. Everyone else is going to put Scotty Scheffler in there. He's the number 1 player in the world. He's going to get in there. So if you just pick him,
every lineup.
He's in every lineup. So if we're looking at a pool that's got a lot of people, we need to find some hidden gems in case Scotty Scheffler trips up and finishes 12th. Because if Scotty Scheffler finishes 12th, and you've got another golfer that finishes ahead of him, you just made up a lot of ground. So Scheffler is the obvious pick in this one. Can we look at Xander Schauffele?
Well, we're not going Rory. We've already established that.
We're not going Rory. We're not going
Jon Rahm,
the defending champ, because he's. I'm looking hard at that at Xander Schauffele. Schauffele is a top 20, top 10 machine. He has finished top 20 in 5 out of the last 6 years here at this course. He finished 10th last year. His last 2 finishes on the PGA Tour, Kelly, are 2nd and 5th. He's got a 3rd, a 9th, a 4th, a 2nd, and 5th. He's number 2 in total strokes gained this year, and I'm going to bet not too many people are going to have him in the lineup. The bummer thing about him is he doesn't win a lot of tournaments, but he's always going to be up there. Maybe this is his year. I think it's a sneaky one. I think we're guaranteed a really good finish.
I mean, at the Players, he shot a 19 under. Is that what I'm seeing? That's great. Just crazy. Okay.
Let's go with Schauffele. We need to make up ground somewhere. Let's put Schauffele in there. So,
all right, there's our boy Wyndham Clark. We already talked about him. Hideki Matsuyama. We've touched on him a little bit. I love Max Homa.
I want Matsuyama.
That's it. We're not even looking at the rest of the list.
Okay, well, Max Homa, he's terrible here. He's finished 43rd, 48th, miscut. He's terrible.
I know. I love Max. No Max Homa slander. He will see that on Twitter, and then he'll be mad at me. Colin Morikawa, Jordan Spieth, Theegala.
No way.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, fine.
Theegala. Okay, so Theegala made his debut last year and finished 9th. We talked about how hard that is to do, and he's been very, very good this year. I'll bet not too many people have him there. I have a funny story about Matthew Fitzpatrick, Kelly. So this is a real story. We like to think these guys are the best in the world and nothing gets past them. So in the off season, he put weights on the inside of his grips on his clubs to practice. And he started off the year terrible. He was horrible. They realized they took all the weights off of the club except his driver. And they realized it 2 tournaments ago. So they fixed his driver. He's now finished 5th and 10th in his last 2 tournaments. He was playing with a effed up driver.
Did he fire that person? Because I would have fired that person.
So now Matthew Fitzpatrick finished 10th here last year. So you get a guy who was playing with a messed up club. He fixes it. Now all of a sudden he's back. This guy's won a major before. Hideki Matsuyama, he's a former winner here. He's sneakily finished 7th, 6th, 12th, and 1st in his last 4 events. I think Matsuyama or Fitzpatrick is the play in this group. I'll let you pick which one. We got
how much common
winner.
knowledge is that Fitzpatrick news? Besides
None.
now you just told everybody. I think that's why he's a sneaky play, because nobody's going to pick him here.
Nobody knows it. Because if you're Fitzpatrick, would you want that story to get out? No way.
No.
So,
again, I would fire that person. They would not have an employment agreement with me any longer. You have one job. Take the weights off the driver.
So bad. Let's do that. Matthew Fitzpatrick and the fixed driver. Let's. That's a good pick. All right.
We got some live guys coming up. Bryson DeChambeau, Cameron Young.
Bryce. I like Cameron Young. Bryson and Brian Harmon do not play well here historically. They never have.
I think I knew that.
Corey Connors is the ultimate letdown. Anytime you depend on that guy, he's not clutch. Let's put it that way. So even though he's got good track record here, I can't.
All right, let's see who's on the bottom of the list, because I feel like people aren't going to scroll to the very bottom and find some good value in some of these. Shane Lowry.
Lowry loves playing here. So does Siwoo Kim. Who's the guy with the glasses? Is that Batia? Is that Akshay?
I can't tell.
Akshay Batia.
Yeah, Batia.
Yeah, that's Akshay Batia. Kelly, you have bigger arms than Batia, and yet he can hit the ball 300 yards. It's amazing. It's amazing. He's got these little tiny twig arms, and yet he hits the ball a mile. So
it's all about the hips, Andy.
The hips, yeah. Well, you can see his hip bones coming through his pants. The guy's a rail. I would vote for Siwoo Kim here or Shane Lowry. Do you want?
I vote Shane Lowry.
Yeah, everyone loves a good Shane Lowry win. Fun fact, after he won the Open Championship in Ireland, he went on a 2-week bender where he actually took the trophy with him and went into different bars around Ireland.
They all do that. How else do you think I got to drink out of the U.S. Open trophy?
One of my friends was in a bar when he walked in, and they spent the night partying with Shane Lowry, singing songs and drinking out of the. So yeah, anytime Shane Lowry's good vibes. He's good juju. He's good mojo. Let's pick Shane Lowry for this one.
Perfect. All right, this is when it starts to get a little dicey.
This is bad.
Big JT Poston fan. Don't feel good about using him here. Jason Day. Who else we got down there on the bottom? Hadwin.
This one's bad. Even
what about
Dustin Johnson's on the twilight. Ben on. Yeah, he's not bad. You're right. You can't do.
I got a text earlier to play him in his matchups, so that's why I'm curious. That's what. Yes.
Okay, Byung-Hun An. Well, let's look at his stats here real quick. He got off to a really, really good start at the beginning of the year. I need to see how he actually plays here. If you like him, let's go with him.
I'm just saying I bet him in a matchup, and I do like that. No live players. Okay. We have not picked a live player yet.
Well, it's nothing against the live players, even though they are whiny little pricks. But they are.
How am I going to clip this and put this on social media? I mean, Andy has just bagged on like everybody under the sun. What are we going with here, Andy?
Kelly, they jumped over to live, and now they're mad at it. If you told your friend, "Hey, that stove is hot, don't touch it," and he went over and touched it, would you feel bad if it burned them? No, that's what the live guys complaining about life are. It's the consequences of your choices. Ben on it is. Ben on. It's got Yeah, good total strokes gained. I think he's a sneaky pick, and I don't think he's going to be in many lineups. That checks
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to use him. I didn't even know he existed until about 3 hours ago when I got text that they played him in matchups, and I said, okay, fine. Who is this guy? And now he's on the Splash Sports app. So T5, this is where I almost know no one. Like T5, T5, T6 is going to be very hard for me. So you're not going to get many opinions. Who's down towards the bottom here? Let's see. Minwoo Lee, I know who that is.
So Taylor Moore is going to be our pick. He's a fantastic pick in DraftKings. He's one of the DraftKings darlings. For the no, Tom Kim is in a major funk. Okay. He is absolutely we've cashed 3 straight bets against him in head-to-head. Sung J.M. has really fallen off of a cliff. Taylor Moore is our guy. I picked him in DraftKings darlings. He's gotten better in his last 4 finishes. He went from 48th to 31st to 12th to 2nd, and he finished 39th here last year. So Taylor Moore, nobody's going to have him in there. That's our guy in this.
Love that for us. Okay.
Yeah, there's a fun fact about a guy in this previous group, Lucas Glover. His last name is Glover. He's the only player on the PGA Tour that does not wear a glove. How about that for a random fact?
Okay. Random fact on Tuesday. Okay. This is our last
That's a true
one.
Fact.
Now, don't forget, you do get to drop your highest score. So whether one of these guys goes off the rails will be good, as long as 2 of them don't go off the rails. Okay, so we already talked about Will Zalatoris a little bit. You were concerned about his back issues. Cameron Smith, or is that Cam Smith? That's Cam Smith.
It's Cameron Smith, Cam Smith. So we're going to go with the live guy. We just need to pick which one. Here's the sneaky thing I love about Cam Smith. He had a tournament last week on the live tour, and he withdrew. He said he was sick. I like it. That means he's ready for this week. He's like, I'm not playing the week before. I don't.
So you think it was
feel good? I'm pulling up. Oh my God, 100%. Yes, he was ready to get on a plane and get to Augusta. So Cam Smith is a really good pick. Everyone's going to be on Brooks Koepka in this group. That's why I'm eliminating him. Finished second last year.
That makes sense because everybody recognizes his name.
Exactly. So everyone's going to pick him. Even he said last year he got the best tee time possible because he got the best weather, and then Jon Rahm hunted him down and ended up winning. So I would say that Cam Smith is a really good one. If you want a real sneaky one, it's Patrick Reed coming over from the Live Tour. Patrick Reed loves playing here. Every single year, the guy just performs. 4th, 35th, 8th, and 10th. In his last 4 years here. He's finished top 10 in his last 2 live tournaments. Funny story about Patrick Reed. He won here in 2018. 2 weeks before he won, he was at his house and his wife said something about the TV and he said, I can't see that. And she said, what do you mean you can't see that? And he was like, I have really bad eyesight. She took him to Lens Crafters. It turns out he was like almost blind. They gave him contacts. 2 weeks later, he won the Masters. They asked him, how could you do this? How could you play golf? And he said, I hit the ball, my caddy would He said my caddy would watch the ball for me. I would hit the ball off the tee and my caddy would watch it.
I mean, that's your caddy's job. But that's absolutely insane because I also still like to see where the ball's going. Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So Patrick Reed is a sneaky one. No, not Pretty Ricky. No. No.
All right, let's put the lineup back up. We're going to put a button on this, and we're going to take your guys' questions. All right, so Patrick Reed is our last one. So we've got Xander Schauffele, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Shane Lowry, Benyon. Is that how you say it? Benon?
He pronounces his first name Ben, just like Benjamin. So Ben on.
Oh, okay. On. Got it.
No,
I thought it was Benoit.
It's Ben on. Ben on.
Ben on. Got it. Okay.
Taylor Moore.
Yep. Taylor Moore and Patrick Reed. Okay. Andy and I've got for our Splash Sports lineups, $50,000 on the line, $50 entry. Let's hope that like the worst score there is like even, and that's who we get a drop, Andy. We'll see what we got here. This should be really fun for us. I've got 2 other entries I'm going to do by myself, and then I'm going to do one with Pam. I haven't even asked Pam how many entries she's going to have. I think you can have up to 33 if you are the type that likes to have multiple entries. Back those DFS days when people would have like 100 entries on a Sunday. I always thought it was crazy, but they made money doing it. All right, we're going to take your questions now. We got a few minutes left here. Appreciate the production guys helping out with that side of things. Now they're going to drop some questions. If anybody's got one regarding the Masters, let's hear it. Something funny though, while we're waiting on some of those questions, Andy, I saw on social media, and it appears that the Masters is just never going to change their prices ever.
Yeah, they've never changed their prices. I calculated it up. I believe if you add every single thing, so if you went up to the concession stand and you ordered one of everything, it would be $71.50 for everything.
Cool.
One of everything. That's like nachos and a beer at Yankee Stadium. $71.50. So, it's the legendary pimento cheese sandwich. That the legend of that story is a woman started making them because she lived across the street, and she started selling them in the parking lot. And instead of like kicking her out, they just embraced her, and it got so popular she couldn't keep up with making them. So the Masters just said, "We're gonna make them for you. What's the recipe and what do you sell them at?" She said $1.50, and they haven't moved off of it since then. So really, really cool story on the pimento cheese sandwich.
Yeah, I don't know anywhere else in the world you can get a beer for $5. I just paid $26 for a margarita at the Wynn in Boston.
Yeah. The other, what was the other funny thing about those? Oh, the legendary peach ice cream sandwiches. A couple years ago, they tried to say they were out of them, and they were like, it was because of the supply chain issues. And it was like, "You're in Georgia. How are you out of peaches?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, nobody fell for that." So they tried to tell people they didn't have enough peaches because of supply chain, except it's in Georgia. What would my go-to be? No, the go. You have to do the pimento cheese sandwich.
I don't know if I could do it. I love cheese too, but I don't know if I could do it, Andy.
What?
It's too stinky.
Oh God, it's stinky. If the other no cell phones. You have to, could you do that?
That'd be very hard for me.
Could you go an entire day at the Masters?
A day?
Literally check.
I mean, you have to go the entire week. You have to check your cell phone the whole week.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you get out of the tournament, but literally, could you be at an entire golf tournament with no cell phone? That would be really, really tough. I respect it. The good news is there's not a lot else going on, right? Like what else do you need your phone for? To check baseball scores? I mean, I bet most of the guys are happy to leave their cell phones checked, don't have to answer to their wives. They're like, "Handle it. You got it under control, babe." Well, I mean, the patrons can't. I'm saying if you went to the Masters, Kelly, you can't take your phone in there. Like, could you make it 8 hours watching a golf? I don't think I could. I don't know.
No?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I could do it. All right, we got a question here in the chat. Let's see what we got. What's the best head-to-head matchup? Next Gen Media would like to know.
Sure. Well, I like to start with what golfers do I want to fade. Before I look at golfers I want to bet on, I want to look at golfers I want to fade. I do really, really like this Gary Woodland against Tiger Woods. Rory McIlroy versus Scotty Scheffler. This has just been one that's been hitting every single week. So you just take Scotty Scheffler, and I don't really care about the juice. I mean, Scotty Scheffler's last finishes are second, first, 10th, third, 6th. Guys are not consistently beating this guy. So I'm going back to the oldie but goodie, and that's Scotty Scheffler versus Rory McIlroy. There's another guy you can fade. That's Colin Morikawa. So depending on if you're looking on the offshores, you can get a really good matchup on Siwoo Kim versus Colin Morikawa. And then I would look at anything fading him. His tee to green is normally his best attribute. It's terrible. It's gone this year. So I'm looking here on DraftKings who they have him up against, but he's an absolute fade. He even finished 10th here last year. Oh, he's against Justin Thomas. Yeah, you could take Justin Thomas against Colin Morikawa.
I've got opposites because, I've got a myriad of books. I've got Colin Morikawa versus Thigala, and then he's Thigala's minus or even money against Colin Morikawa, and then I've got Max Homa plus 120 versus Morikawa.
That's a diabolical matchup. The books know what they're doing there. A guy that plays terrible here versus a guy who's playing terrible right now. Don't overthink it. Scotty Scheffler versus Rory McIlroy. That's the best matchup. Just take that one.
Perfect. Anything else you want to add before we let you go? Because I got to film the Masters edition of Kelly and Murray up next. Also, let everybody know what they can find over at Wagertalk.com. And then we'll take the last question on the board.
Just make sure that you're looking, if you're playing top positions like top 20s, top 40s, check your rules to make sure that they pay out full on ties, or if they use dead heat rules, you always want to make sure you get paid out on ties. What that means is if you have a guy to finish in the top 20 and he finishes tied 20th with like 5 other people, you get paid out on full. Dead heat rules means it gets chopped like in like 5 ways. So you end up getting paid out, but it's less than what you bet on it. You always want to be betting at books that pay out full on ties. So double check and make sure that's what your book pays out on. That's a really important rule when you're betting these majors.
All right. Noted. Wire to wire winner plus 700. Oof. God, I don't feel like that's very good.
No, it's not good. And the weather is just going to throw a lot of chaos in the first couple days. This one's going to be really, really tough. You're going to need, what you're going to need is a dominant first round. You're going to need a guy that goes out and, man, Kelly, in this wind, -3 or -4 might be a great score on Thursday. Maybe you get one guy that goes like -6, has like a long chip in, or just goes crazy putting. But you're going to need a guy that has a 3 or 4 shot lead after Thursday, and I don't think that's likely. In order to navigate Thursday and Friday, too much chaos, too much uncertainty. So, no, I can't get behind wire-to-wire winner.
All right. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Andy Lang bets over on Instagram, at Bump Sports over on X. Thank you for hanging out with us. Again, Andy is our $2 Tuesday handicapper. You can get his best bet for just $2 over at wagertalk.com. All right, guys, good luck this week on all of your Masters bets, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for some baseball with Adam Trigger.